Hello, good evening, and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, coming to you live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. Coming up this evening, ahead of the Akwatia by-election, the New Patriotic Party is demanding the immediate arrest and prosecution of persons engaged in violent conduct during the Ablekuma North parliamentary rerun.
The Ghana police should give us that confidence that they have dealt with the Ablekuma North issue. We have 2 more weeks to go, and I think that we still have a lot of time for them to make some decisive arrest and put these hoodlums, these thugs, before the law court.
Also coming up, Office of the Special Prosecutor and the FBI clears former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa in respect of seized funds and frozen bank accounts. We have details of that story for you in a jiffy. And later, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association gives Health Ministry 48 hours to arrest a man who allegedly assaulted a nurse at the Ridge Hospital. Details of this plus sports, business, all coming up in the next 1 hour. Stay with us. Before we bring you the details, let's bring you some summaries of the big stories making rounds. And Christabel success. Treve joins us in studio. Hello.
Hi, Martin. Thank you very much. In our summaries tonight, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association is demanding swift action from government following an attack on a nurse at the Ridge Hospital in Accra. The association has given authorities 48 hours to arrest the suspect, Ralph St. Williams, or risk asking the members in the hospital to remove themselves from the work environment. The National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat has arrested 4 military personnel for conducting unauthorized raids at Sempa Junction in Takwa Inswayam district of the Western region. In a tactical operation on Monday, August 18, the NIMO's task force seized the weapons and equipment of the soldiers who were reportedly carrying out illegal operations in the area. The suspects are believed to be parts of outlawed groups that staged unauthorized anti-illegal mining activities under the guise of national security operations. And finally, the Electoral Commission has confirmed that the printing of ballot papers for the upcoming Akwatia parliamentary by-election will officially commence on Wednesday, August 20. This was announced after the Inspector General of Police, IGP, convened a crucial meeting today with representatives of political parties to discuss preventive measures against election-related violence and key security arrangements for the upcoming poll. We have a lot more on our website, 3news.com. Do well to visit there. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much for those summaries. Let's go straight into the details. And you can also be a part of the show. Let's hear from you on our various social media platforms. We are also streaming on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and look for 3FM 927. All right. So the main opposition, the New Patriotic Party, is demanding the immediate arrest and prosecution of persons who engaged in violent conduct during the Ablekuma North parliamentary election rerun. According to the NPP, this action will help restore public confidence in the police ahead of the Akwatia by-election. The call was made during a high-level meeting at the police headquarters involving the Ghana Police Service, the Electoral Commission, and representatives of the various political parties. The meeting also discussed security arrangements and the preparedness of the stakeholders for the September 2 by-election. All parties present expressed satisfaction with the measures put in place by the Election Security Task Force. First, let's hear from Rashid Tanko Computer, the NDC's Deputy Director of Elections and IT, who has been saying that this party is satisfied.
We had a very fruitful discussion with the IGP and the team. And in present was the MPP, ACP, and then the APP. These are the party contesting their Akwatia by-election. They've given us their roadmap, their deployment plan, indicating they are bringing all their regional commanders and then their POMAC members to beef up security, and that they are not going to leave any stone unturned to make sure that there's enough security at the police. So they are not expecting anybody to come with any macho men or personal security and all that. The EC also brief us what they intend to do in terms of accreditation. They'll make sure that all our leadership who are going to do the monitoring observation will be given accreditation. And we are very clear in our mind that the NDC, we are committed to the peace plan, the process they've put in place. But we are mindful of the activity of our opponent who will come in there with dangerous weapons. You remember what happened at Blikumanov? That triggered all this problem. And then, yes, I mean, there was a pepper spray. I mean, one of their leaders, our commission, had pepper spray in her back. She came to the place and was asking an necessary question. To the extent she was spraying that one, even to officers of the police as well as the EC officials. I mean, all this thing caused the problem at that polling stations. So we're telling them they need to beef up security and make sure that the fact that you are a former minister or a former MP or a MP, if you don't have accreditation, you have no business at the polling stations. And I also made it easy to make sure that they post the results at the end of the collation in each of the polling stations, because it's a requirement under Regulation 39(3)(c) that at the end of the collation they need to put one there, so that if there's anything, we can rely on that one too. The EC said yes, and they're also saying that we should make sure that our supporters don't tamper with those things when they put it out there. I mean, so we're clear in our mind. The police has given it all the assurance.
And that's the voice of Rashid Tanko Computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. And he's joined us again for a quick update of what exactly his thoughts were when they went into that meeting, and how come they are, quite assured by the, words from the Security and the Electoral Commission ahead of the elections. Mr. Rashid Tanko, good evening again. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
And to you yourself.
Right. To start with, you gave clear indications that following the meeting you've had, you are quite confident that all things will go well. But of course, it is with some level of caution. Can you talk to us about the NDC's preparedness, first of all, ahead of the event on September 2?
Very well. We are prepared for the election. I mean, we've put our teams together. We've gathered all the necessary logistics to execute the elections in terms of election materials, for the training of our party agents, and then our deployment strategy. Everything is set. My other colleague was in the constituency to put the teams together, and then whilst we do the training, I mean, tomorrow is the training of the ballot papers, so we are here to put our agents who are coming to monitor the training of the printing of the ballot papers tomorrow. So we are busy putting training and making sure that our teams understand the electoral process very well for the by-election, because we don't want to leave anything to chance. We know our opponents that we are dealing with. They just come without properly prepared for the election. And they try to foment troubles wherever they are. And so we are very clear in our mind that we are ready for the election, we are prepared. And we'll continue to make sure that everything goes on. When we met the IGP and the team with them, we made it very clear. We will go by their strategy, their plan. They told us they are deploying about 5,000 police, and they are bringing all senior police officers, including the POMAT members. And so that tells you that they are serious. They mean business.
Okay.
They want to make sure that there's proper peace in Akwatia, so that everybody can go about his business without any difficulty.
Right.
And then so we are very much assured with ourselves that, look, whatever the police is coming out with, it will go down in history as one of the best by-elections to be conducted in this country.
We know that the NPP was there, and the national organizer of the party, Henry Nana Boakye, also raised some concerns. He touched primarily on the Ablekuma North rerun, which ended a few months ago, and was saying that until the police arrest the perpetrators of the violence there, they are not too certain about the security arrangement being discussed now. How does that come to you?
Well, we told them, and we are surprised. I'm even surprised at the direction of which they were coming from. Don't forget, the NDC has not added a single policeman to the current one since we were voted back to power. We have not done any recruitment. We've just inherited the structure the MPP bequeathed us. That's what we have inherited. And then for them to come today and say that they don't trust the police, they don't trust what the police is doing, In fact, it shocked everybody. How can you say such a thing? It's your own structure. We have not done any recruitment to say that we have brought in people you think that their loyalty might be for the ADC. All the people that were deployed for Blakman North were recruited by the NPP.
Yes, but
I'm not saying that. So why today?
But
why
Mr. Tanko Computer, is it not a fair concern to raise that although they were in government and now in opposition, and you are now in government, the fact that you've not added a new recruitment list to the current set of security persons does not negate the fact that if people turn out to vote, they should be able to do that without fear of any violence breaking out. So there should be a condemnation of the violence, first of all, and then also the fact that if the security did investigate and, arrest some people, then it gives more confidence to the Ghanaian voter that there should be no concern if they are going out to vote.
Martin, let's face the fact. When you are going to condemn, you condemn both sides. The security has made us to understand that pepper spray is one of the dangerous weapons that is not allowed during election management or election processes. What was Howard Thompson doing with pepper spray? What was she doing over there? So he wanted they were asking of arrest. And I said, fine, fair enough. The police have started arresting some people in connection with that one police station problem. Howard Thompson should be arrested because she was also holding a dangerous weapon. What was she doing at that police station with that dangerous weapon? And you see, that's the problem. It takes two to tango. And these are the problem we have with our opponents. They'll be the first to come to the media and be yelling and talking plenty. But when you hit them hard with this, then they backtrack and say, what was she doing? It means a predetermined mind to come and cause havoc. So it came well prepared with weapons. Is that what we are expecting? That's why the police, we told the police.
Fair point.
We are hoping the police said they are going to search whoever is coming into Blakman. And listen, Akwatia, they are going to search because...
So at least your expectation is that
for them.
At Akwatia, there should be, based on the assurances you've been given and the fact that you are hopeful, your party members and all the other parties who would participate in the Akwatia election, you are hopeful that no violence should break out.
Well, that's why I'm saying that as a political party, we are confident with the police structure. The plan they gave us today, we are very much confident that with that plan, we will have peace. But the back I'm putting here is that our opponents should be cautioned. And I'm happy the police cautioned them. The police cautioned and cautioned all of us. Nobody, because they were saying that they don't have confidence with the police.
Right.
And I said, fine, if you don't have confidence with this Ghana police, are you expecting us to go and bring Afghanistan police or Somalia police to come and conduct the election for us?
Certainly not.
That's not what we are looking for.
Okay.
So we don't want anybody to come and foment trouble because NDC is winning the seat. We are winning. And we are going to win massive. And so we don't want anybody to mar the beauty of our victory.
Okay. We'll definitely be engaging you, as we all build up to Akwatia and see how it plays out. And thank you so much for speaking to us this evening.
I'm grateful.
And you heard the voice of Rashid Tanko Computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. Let's engage the thoughts of a political analyst who's also followed this particular build up quite closely. He's a known voice now when it comes to issues of Ghanaian politics. Would, after him, bring you the thoughts and perspectives shared by the Electoral Commission and the NPP fully. But first of all, let's speak to Dr. Joshua Zato, who is a senior lecturer at the Department of Political Science, University of Ghana. Doc, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Martin, and good evening to your listeners.
What are your initial thoughts on the fact that Blakman North rerun, unfortunately recorded some violence? We have not heard the end of that, but we have another by-election in the offing. How concerning is the fact that we've not closed the chapter on one and we are seeking or looking forward to another?
Thank you very much. I heard Tanko talking, what was surprising to me was the fact that he was trying to play a certain concept of a false equivalency. A woman has pepper spray in her purse, and then you are trying to justify that you have to make it like that. That pepper spray necessitates, invites, or provokes a physical attack on her person. But I'll let that go. The bigger point is this, and you just asked it. Anybody going to Akwatia should be scared. Anybody going to Akwatia should be worried. The politicians going to Akwatia should be worried and should be scared. And the journalists going to Akwatia should be worried and should be scared. But it made it look like, okay, even if in whatever logic that the attack on Howard Kumsung was justified that he's trying to make it, what about the attack on the journalists? What about the attack on the innocent people? You see, the reason why we keep bringing, and we have to keep bringing Ablekumanov is because it happened in broad daylight. We saw it happen. How many, and we all saw the perpetrators, captured on camera, on video. How many of them are in court today? How many of them have been punished? How many of them have been suffering for what they've done? Our Kumsung had to go to, what's the name, hospital. The Deputy General Secretary of the NPP has to go to hospital. The hospital, everything. And the journalists that were around. The Ghana Journalists Association came out, issued a strongly worded statement to condemn it. What has happened? Remember, what happened in Ablekumanov wasn't the absence of police presence. It was in spite of police presence. What happened in Ablekumanov was not because the police were, look, we saw the police, the numbers were huge. Listen, the man was being beaten, he was knocked down right in front of the police. So it's not because the police wasn't there, it's not because their numbers were not enough, it's not because their number was not, it's because the police have not told us that. The
so,
police
Doc,
have not come out to tell us that.
So my understanding...
No, I'm making a point. I want to make a point.
Okay.
So everybody that is worried about a repeat of violence or a potential repeat of violence in Akwatia is justified.
So is it then that you are advising that people should take with a pinch of salt the assurance given by the police, even to the extent that they met the leadership of the two main parties to tell them that policing will be top-notch and they should have nothing to worry about? You think we should disregard that because of the Ablekuma North violence?
I'm not saying we should disregard that, but I'm saying coming events cast their shadows. I am saying that the police, if they wanted to let people believe what they were saying, when the police met these people, they should have told them, hey, remember the man that was flying like Spider-Man and hit our Kumsung? We've arrested him, we've charged him, he's undergoing trial. Remember the tax that beat the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP? They are also, we've identified all of them, we've provided information, they are also under trial. Remember the people that beat all the journalists, they are all under trial. That's what the police does. The police should have given them an update. Did they give the Ghanaian people an update? Because if you don't want to further or perpetuate impunity, you take corrective measures. You tell us, look, these were the mistakes we identified in Ablekumanov. Despite that, these are the people we have arrested. We issue those statements in confirmation that these people are now being prosecuted. And as they are being prosecuted to serve as a deterrent, my question to you is, what deterrence have we seen after Ablekumanov that should make you be more assured of what will happen or not happen in Akwatia? What inactions have the police taken after Ablekumanov to then let us know that this will yield results in Akwatia? That we have not seen. So if you are just sitting there, you are a journalist, for instance, if you are going to Akwatia, you ask yourself, by the way, what happened to your colleagues who were beaten in Ablekumanov? If nobody has been punished for them, then somebody is not saying, oh, as for Akwatia, when we are beating there, nothing will happen to you. Look at the distance between the police headquarters to Ablekumanov. And then look at the distance between the police headquarters to Akwatia. And if you are not safe in Ablekumanov, how do you expect to be safe in Akwatia?
That's a serious question you raised there, Doc. And let me, also bring this to your attention and seek your thoughts on it, that the NPP's national organizer, Nana B, is saying that the party intends to institute measures for personal protection. Is that not a recipe for chaos? Or you think that it is fair because of the fact that the police have not been able to live by their word? If you're going to the premises to vote, you need to go with your own protection, or at least some form of protection for yourself.
Martin, I'm never an advocate for violence. I will never advocate or suggest that anybody takes the law into their own hands. I will never do that. But you want to ask yourself, again, I'm asking, look, let's be fair. So now we have to do it. Imagine your TV state, your employer says, go and cover this. First of all, what do you think your wife or your family will say when you say you are going to work? They'll be worried. Their first thing is that they are worried. When you told them you were coming to work this morning, they were not worried. Because it's a normal day. The moment you say you're going to cover a by-election, they are worried. Why? Because they saw what happened to the journalists at Ablekumanov. They saw what happened to the politicians at Ablekumanov.
Right.
Remember, all the victims were NPP members. All the victims. There was no single victim that was an NDC member. 2, all the victims were either NPP members or journalists. So the question is that, so if you are an NPP member, that is enough reasons to cause you a lot of irritation. That's enough reason to let you worry. How come all the perpetrators were agents of the states or private individuals associated with the NDC? And how come all the victims were NPP members? Now you are going there. It is not surprising in terms of human survival for you to begin to think, am I the next victim? It's normal, it's logical, it's part of human survival for you to think about that. Right. My point is then that, look, if the police, imagine the police had done something different. Again, let's go back there. Because the police, the state should be the last resort of power. There's the state that should go to provide everybody security. If the police had taken measures that were convincing enough, by now, imagine the police had said that, then people will not want to see what they are doing. But now, anybody going to Akwatia, they're trying to find any means or any measure of making sure that they go there, exercise or observe their political rights, and come back home safely. We have to make sure that there is merit to that thinking.
Okay. Doc, pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time this evening on 3FM. You heard the voice of Dr. Joshua Zubantie Zato, who is a senior lecturer at the Department of Political Science, University of Ghana. What do you also make of his thoughts, and clearly the concerns he raises? I also indicated that the meeting the police had with the various political parties ended with some form of assurance, but after the meeting, the NPP was insistent that while the meeting was fruitful, the police's failure to arrest perpetrators of the Ablekumanov violence undermines the confidence the security services should have in terms of organizing and protecting our polls. Let's listen to Nana Boache on this.
This was a good meeting. We raised some important issues. The police gave us the assurances, but we said that assurances are built on confidence. We also expressed our dissatisfaction with the conduct of the Ghana police, especially in the recently held rerun of about 19 polling stations in Ablekumanov. We said that thugs who were linked to the NDC, who caused mayhem, their images are all over, the videos all over. And as we speak, the Ghana police has not effected any decisive arrest. We saw a communique that stated that they have arrested 2 persons. We don't know what came up. We don't have any update. Were they put before the court? Are they on remand? We don't even know anything at all. So we were very, very, very strong on this particular point. And then the IGP said that, look, they are also serious about it. And we should even expect that even today, by close of today, some arrest would be made. We also mentioned it to the IGP that, look, if they want us to rely on these assurances, then they must work on what happened in Ablekumanov. Why? Because if a stalwart of the New Patriotic Party or even any ordinary member is coming to Akwatia with the mindset of what happened to Honorable Howard Kumsin and my deputy, clearly the person is going to protect himself. And I've kept saying this, that for the New Patriotic Party, we are going to protect ourselves. And self-protection is well stated within the laws of this country. So the Ghana police should give us that confidence that they have dealt with the Ablekumanov issue. We have 2 more weeks to go. And I think that we still have a lot of time for them to make some decisive arrest and put these hoodlums, these thugs, before the law court. We mentioned that. Then again, the police also assured us that they are going to deploy over 5,000 men and they do not need the services of the military. This is purely a police matter. And they also gave us that assurance that this is going to be a Ghana police matter and we do not want the intervention of the military. So largely, the IGP says that he is going to make sure that this is going to be one of the most peaceful by-elections we've had in this country. But our concerns are still the fact that we have had some people who caused some mayhem in Ablekumanov. They are still working free. They must make some arrests and they must put these guys before the law court.
And that's the voice of the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Henry Nana Boakye. Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission on its part says it is fully prepared for the upcoming elections. Dr. Benjamin Barnobio is the Director of Electoral Services at the EC, and he also spoke to the media after the meeting.
Duties on the D-Day in a very peaceful manner, and therefore the people should have trust in the system, and nobody is going to intimidate anybody. What happened in Ablekumanov was raised, but the police assured us that is a thing of the past, and that they are on the ground. They are going to ensure that nobody takes the law into his or her own hands. So for now, we are all geared toward Akwatia by-election, and we are all hopeful that the security, as explained by the police, will be effective. And Electoral Commission is also poised to ensure that we deliver our mandate in a very professional manner. We just call on the political parties to go by the rules for all of us to have a very successful by-elections in Akwatia.
Did the political parties, any of them have any concerns?
Concerns were raised, as I said. Security concerns were raised, and the police dealt with that. You know, based on what happened in Ablekumanov, some of them were suspicious and they were apprehensive. But the police has taken us through the security measures put in place. And now we are all aware of what's going to happen, and we are all sure that the police will deliver on its mandate.
And you heard the voice of the Deputy Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, and the person of Dr. Benjamin Barnobio. He's actually the Director of Electoral Services at the EC. This is still 3FM 92.7. Let's go on to some other stories, this time around to the House of Legislature Parliament. And the chairperson of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, Abena Osei-Asare, recused herself earlier today from presiding over the committee's hearing on the Auditor General's report for 2024. The committee began its maiden public hearing on the 2024 audit report covering the ministries, departments and agencies. However, moments before proceedings got underway, the Etiwa East Member of Parliament announced that she could not preside, citing the new standing orders of Parliament as well as her previous role as Minister of State during the erstwhile NPP government. She explained that since the audit report under consideration relates to the year 2024, a period when she served as a government appointee, continuing as its chairperson could amount to a conflict of interest. Let's listen to her, and then we'll subject her position to some questions.
As part of Parliament's improvements on transparency and accountability, and in line with our new standing orders, specifically Order 2294, members are advised that I will not be presiding over this year's public hearings, having served as a public officer in the 2024 administration, to avoid any perception of conflict of interest and to uphold the heightened scrutiny standards introduced under the revised standing order rules. The ranking member, Honorable Samuel Atta Mills, will chair these proceedings until we are done with all the 2024 audit reports. I have every confidence that he will discharge his mandate with firmness, fairness, and fidelity to the national interest. This is a critical national assignment. We count on your support.
And that's Abna Osei-Asare, who is the Member of Parliament for Itiwa East. And until she decided to recuse herself, she was the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. Let's get some thoughts on this and what it really means for how Parliament can have its oversight responsibility of protecting the public purse. Dr. Rashid Draman has joined as the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Doc, good evening and thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin.
How does this come to you that the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee decides to step aside, handing the role to the ranking member, all in the bid to, make sure that there is no conflict of interest raised? Is there any conflict of interest from where you sit?
Yes, indeed, Martin. So the architecture of our parliament in terms of leadership of committees has traditionally given the role of the chair of the Public Accounts Committee to the party that is not in government. And over the years, we've seen this play out as the practice, and that's the practice also in most Commonwealth countries. Now, the problem that arrangement poses is what we just saw play out in this case. You would get a year or some period, especially immediately following a change in government, where the chair of PAC will be presiding over, the accounts and stewardship of a government that he or she has been a part of. And I have to salute Honorable Abna Osei-Asare. We've had instances in the past where, for instance, people who have served in the Ministry of Finance or in government have been chairs of PACs. But I think if my memory is correct, this is the first time we are seeing an MP, a chairperson, take this bold decision, which really needs to be celebrated. And perhaps it gives credence to the fact that, we need to give a lot more women some of these leadership roles in Parliament. Currently, I think there are 2 of them, or 3 or so, heading committees, and we have, so many committees, and we think that justice has not been done. And what the chair of the PAC has done today, I think is a clear demonstration and it's a message to the leadership of Parliament that I think we need to get more women into some of these leadership roles.
Right. And Doc, so the concerns some have raised are that, yes, the report under review is 2024 when she was a Minister of State. However, if you are handing over the role of chairmanship to the current administration's representative, more or less, or the government in power, because the ranking usually is the opposite side of the political divide. So if that is the case, wouldn't that in itself bring maybe excessive scrutiny or trying to necessarily find fault where there may be any, because then the person chairing might want to, be a bit more critical than usual?
Well, so normally, we love scrutiny. No matter how critical it is. If there's nothing to find, they won't find anything. If there's something to find, the critical scrutiny will bring out that finding. Those who have raised a concern, I think perhaps would have to think about, the bigger picture. Because if you listen to her, she's talking about the accounts of 2024. So we are going to have maybe next year in 2026, they'll be looking at the accounts of 2025, and she would be presiding. And traditionally, like I said, the chair of the PAC has always been somebody from the opposition. So this is just a temporary arrangement, and she will come back to her role. And I believe that Honorable Atta Mills will be mindful of that. We don't want any witch hunt. We want to ensure that those who have been given the mandate have executed their stewardship with fidelity to the Constitution and to the people of our country.
Right.
And Martin, in some countries, they take this matter of public accounts very, very seriously, to the extent that I have seen a place where the Public Accounts Committee is made up of parliamentarians and non-parliamentarians, because they say this is national resource, this is money for the country that we are discussing here, and it shouldn't be left in the hands of politicians, or it shouldn't be politicized. So I hope they will all be guided by this. The current chair, there's a ranking who is now acting as chair, and the chairperson herself, when she assumes her role, to keep this in mind, that you are not sitting there to do fault finding. You are sitting there to make sure that the right things are done where they have not been done right, and going forward, maybe measures are put in place to ensure that those irregularities don't occur. Unfortunately, Martin, in our country, year in, year out, I think the Auditor General's report doesn't give us anything to be hopeful about in terms of whether these irregularities would stop anytime soon. And that is where and why the Public Accounts Committee has to perhaps maybe up its game.
Right.
I know the usual issue that is raised is that we don't have prosecutorial powers. But I think as a country, we can have a conversation and see. Some countries have done it. It is possible.
Right.
And we can do it as well, because if people are not sanctioned, wrongdoing is going to continue, as we are seeing.
In the public sector. Finally, before you go, clearly this is a first for as long as I can remember, but as an expert in parliamentary governance, would this also be a first, hearing that the chair of a committee raises issues of conflict of interest, and because of that recuse themselves? And while at that, do you foresee this having any impact on the final report from the committee?
Well, I don't think that it will have any impact on the final report of the committee. There are members from the other side, from the opposition, who also sit on the committee. So I think there are some kind of guardrails there. Assuming there is a likelihood of the chair overreaching his mandate. And I think in terms of your first question, yes, certainly that's a first. And for me, maybe I'll look at it from this perspective, that is going to set a precedent that other chairpersons would have to follow, not only when matters relating to their government are being discussed. But most importantly, Martin, that, when matters in which some of them have been lobbied, or they have some interest in terms of business interest, or some distant interests, relatives, friends, and so on, that our parliamentarians would do well to copy from the example set by this gallant MP that I think I would salute every day for this singular act.
Okay. Doc, thank you so much for making time to speak with us this evening. Dr. Rashid Draman is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs and has been sharing his thoughts on the decision of the Chair of the Public Accounts Committee, Madam Abena Ose Asari, deciding to recuse herself or get herself off the committee sitting today because she was in government at the time this report was being put together, or the report being considered was at the time when she was a member of the administration at the time. So she's gotten some commendations, and we only hope that at the end we'll get to see the final report, where you can tell from what Dr. Rashid Rahman said that unfortunately, year in, year out, the Auditor General's report has not given any hope or confidence as regards how corruption is being fought or how the public sector is managing the nation's resources. Every year, something extremely damning comes out. And today, the report has raised again or thrown up very shocking reports of some sectors spending as much as $6.7 million with no evidence or document to show for it. Details of that is on our website, 3news.com, and I will try in the coming days to bring you some specifics from the Auditor General's report. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's turn our attention to some other stories we have for you this evening. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor says after nearly 7 months of extensive investigation and a parallel FBI inquiry, no direct and immediate evidence of corruption was found in respect of seized funds and frozen bank accounts linked to former Sanitation Minister Madam Cecilia Abena-Dapaah and her associates. This was contained in the prosecutor's half-year report. It will be recalled that the office commenced an investigation in July 2023 in respect of suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses regarding large amounts of money and other valuable items found in the in the home or in possession of Madam Cecilia Abena-Dapaah and her associates when she was a Minister of State. The OSP, in its half-year report for 2025, says after nearly 7 months of extensive investigation and a parallel inquiry by the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, in the United States, no direct and immediate evidence of corruption was found in respect of seized funds and frozen bank accounts linked to the accused person and her associates. The FBI and OSP partnership came barely a day after lawyers of the former Sanitation Minister filed an affidavit at the Human Rights Division of the High Court seeking an interlocutory injunction on investigations being conducted by the OSP. Former Bantama Member of Parliament had described as unfair, unreasonable, capricious, arbitrary, and ultra-virus the re-seizure of her monies and the re-freezing of her accounts by the OSP. So this has been running for a number of months now, and today the half-year report seemed to have, brought some kind of clarity to how the investigations have gone on in the last few months. Let's speak now to Edem Senanu, who is the Executive Director of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's joined us on phone. Mr. Senanu, good evening and thank you for your time.
Good evening.
What do you make of the half-year report from the Office of the Special Prosecutor? Does that mean clear vindication for the former Sanitation Minister?
Well, thank you. I think it's important to note that on one hand, whilst under their mandate, they did not find the corruption indicators they're looking for, the report underscores that they found strong indication of money laundering and structuring, which come under the mandate of IOCO, which is the reason why in May 2024 they gave the entire docket to IOCO. And that part of the report indicates that I think the new leadership of IOCO intends to take a further look at the docket. So I don't think that it has provided a clean bill, as some may want to suggest, for the former sanitation minister. What it is that the processes are ongoing, and it is likely that we will need some time to have a finality on this particular case.
So the reports making rounds already that she is free should not be given that much attention, because we've seen reports on some media portals and on social media that the OSP had just run around in circles and didn't come out with any fruitful outcome. But your understanding is that it is not all clear. There is still something to be investigated.
Well, yes, and it's not that that's my position. That's exactly what the OSP has said. So if anybody is saying that she's been given a clean bill, that is inaccurate at the barest minimum, or it's an attempt to befuddle the facts. They have said that there's strong indication of money laundering and structuring, because to all extents and purposes, she could not provide a basis for the additional sums of money that were found in her custody at a time where she was working in government. Her known sources of funds had been declared, and the discrepancy could not be accounted for. Even without the OSP having drawn this conclusion, all people just looking at the data between sources of income and how much remuneration plus the actual amounts found in the custody, you would arrive at a similar conclusion that there's something amiss. So it would take IOCO going into the issue of money laundering and structuring for us to then draw a final conclusion on that particular case. Right.
How do you, and finally, how do you see this playing out for the investigation the IOCO is also about to, I'm sure they probably must have already started, but now that they also have their role to play in uncovering whether or not there is any form of infraction, do you think this half-year report could in any way influence that? What kind of outcome are you looking forward to?
I don't think that the half-year report by itself would be of any influence. I think what it is a docket that has been submitted to them on the work that the OSP had already done, which therefore it clears up what they don't need to bother themselves about if they're going to leverage that, and what they need to focus on. And I guess it will also include whatever additional information they were able to access from the FBI. So I think that what it is that IOCO stands in a pole position to be able to move more rapidly to look at the issues and to draw conclusions based on the docket that was submitted to them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Senanu, for your time this evening.
And thank you for having me.
And you heard Adam Senanu, who is the executive director of the I beg your pardon, that is Adam Senanu, who is with the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, sharing his thoughts on this latest release from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Their half-year report has given some clarity regarding the investigations they have been on over the last few months. And he says that now that IOCO is also undertaking its side of the investigation, we all just need to look forward to whatever outcome they may also be finding as they dig into the issues regarding Madam Cecilia Dapaah, who over the last few months or before the exit of the NPP was under severe investigation over some assets and monies that were found in her possession, some of which she could not clearly give how she got or was able to, how they came into her possession. But because of the public expressions that have greeted the half-year report and how some media houses are reporting it, there has been a public notice issued by the Office of the Special Prosecutor that seeks to clarify that it is not to mean that Madam Cecilia Dapaah is free, and that the OSP emphasizes that the case has been referred to EOCO, which is the Economic and Organized Crime Office, under the previous leadership because investigations uncovered strong indications of suspected money laundering and structuring. So we'll just all have to wait and see what kind of outcome we'll be seeing when EOCO is done with its investigations. Let's bring you what's happening in the world of sports now. And we have been joined by the sports team. So do stay tuned. This is 3FM 92.7.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo. Let's start with our first story where Asante Kotoko have expressed displeasure over the decision that would see the club players' upcoming CAF Confederation Cup preliminary round match against Kora United of Nigeria at the Accra Sports Stadium instead of their traditional home ground, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. The Porcupine Warriors are scheduled to face Kora United between 19th and 21st September, but logistical challenges and venue clearance issues have forced a change in location. Speaking on our sister station Akoma 87.9 FM, the club's communications director Samuel Safuduku lamented the financial and emotional toll the decision will have on the club and its supporters.
Of having to move the team from Kumasi to a different venue for the entire duration of the competition cannot be underestimated. You and I know hotel bills, transportation, and even the fact that you will not get the chunk of your supporters behind you is a serious problem. But it's unfortunate that we have gotten to this stage, looking at the fact that sometimes we have to be a bit serious as a country. But from the very moment that Kotoko even qualified to the finals of the FA Cup, MTN FA Cup, it was obvious that the opponent wouldn't have the wherewithal, with all due respect, to play in the competition. So Kotoko were the likely candidates. Even after winning the FA Cup, it's about 8 weeks or so now. And we had prepared, in fact, everything is planned. We had prepared and sent the request as far as disappointed as a club.
And so that was Communications Director of Kumasi, Asante Kotoko. That's Samuel Safuduku speaking. Meanwhile, the Black Stars and Auxerre midfielder Elisha Owusu has expressed his excitement on playing alongside fellow Ghanaian Ibrahim Osman. Osman joined the Liga outfit on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion for the 2025-2026 season and provided an assist on his debut for the club against Lorient over the weekend. Speaking about the young forward, Owusu believes his addition is a positive one for the club.
First of all, I'm so happy to have another Ghanaian in the team. You know, now we three, maybe four even, because Koulibaly speaks also Treve fluently. So like we can say it's Ivory Coast, but she's Ghanaian also. So like let's say four with him, you know. So I'm happy, you know, I'm happy. I can improve my tree also with them. But I'm happy because like he's a really kind guy, really good. I play with him national team, so you know, I'm really happy and excited to play with him. Also, he's a talent that everybody like want to see him play here. Everybody speak about him in the city, so I'm happy that like my Ghanaian brother shine, and I want him to do a great season, you know.
Well, that was Elisha Owusu bringing an end to the sports segment here on Hot Edition, and also concluding the Hot Edition program here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Uri Kwampofo, and we'll be back again same time tomorrow to bring you the latest news around the world and in Ghana as well.